On the morning of my 31st birthday, I was in the kitchen making coffee, and I looked up at the sky, and I thought, wow, I didn't drink for a whole year. Wait a minute. I never liked going clubbing. Now, the reason that hit me so hard is that since I've been allowed to go clubbing, like since I've been 18, I've been going clubbing, but I never liked it. What happened was I'm a year older than all my friends from school. So when I turned 18, I couldn't go clubbing with them. But a good friend of mine, Mario, he was 1 year older than me, is 1 year older than me. Hi, Mario. And he took me to London so I can go clubbing with his friends. And I remember when I was there, I was like, this is all good and stuff, but it's not really my thing. And even though I knew it wasn't my thing back then, I still spent the next 10 years of my life doing that because everyone else is doing it. Because culture is a very powerful thing. When the whole world is turning right, it takes massive balls to do something different. And I think actually in most cases it's a matter of meeting other people. Because only when I started meeting other people that didn't drink, I was like, oh, you don't drink? No, I don't drink. Because you're Muslim, right? Or you have some kind of health problem? No, I just don't drink. That's a thing? People do that? I had no idea. My whole world and like my whole identity had been harbored to drinking, you know. Everyone drank. And I also drank quite a lot. No one can say I hadn't had my fair share of partying, but what was different now that I was turning 30 is that alcohol was hitting me different. The mornings after are a lot harder, and you know, I do all these like health stuff to look after myself. I like exercise regularly. I start my days off with my mornings off with meditation and yoga, and to like kind of waste all that by getting drunk, it seems like kind of counterproductive, a little bit hypocritical. And the last few times I got drunk, not even got drunk, but like had one beer, the day after I was like, oh, I feel like garbage. Like, why am I doing this to myself? I don't get anything out of it. As I was turning 30, I heard a story. Once upon a time, with my dad turned 30, apparently, and I don't even know if it's true, so Dad, go on, let me know. When he turned 30, that was the first time he drank. He was a martial artist. I guess health was more important for him. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if the last time I drink is when I'm 30? In this video, I'm going to break down my year, kind of like what the expectations were, what actually happened, and then what happens moving forward. I expected a few things. I expected my sleep would improve. I expected my dandruff would improve. I expected I'd be able to meditate better. I expected I would make no new friends and I would become a loser who never goes out the house. And worst of all, I hoped not, but it was a possibility that I lose the connection I had with my deepest, oldest friends, because many of the bonds we have are formed around getting drunk and partying together. So I really feared losing that. When it comes to not drinking alcohol, we can't not talk about health. That's the first thing you would think, that why you're stopping to drink alcohol, because of your health. I didn't drink that much. I didn't expect anything big to happen, but I guess the question is alcohol unhealthy or not? It depends. It depends on the quality of alcohol you're drinking. You know, around the second month, my girlfriend opened up a lovely bottle of red wine. It was a gift from a friend for her birthday. It was a fancy pantsy one. I smelt it and I remember thinking, there isn't a single cell in my body which is telling me that this is unhealthy for me. And then there was that one time in Indonesia where we're drinking like fake branded alcohol, and yeah, the next day like I had to have an IV and I had to be carried. Yeah, it was horrible. It's kind of like, imagine a Big Mac versus a Wagyu beef. You know, the packaging is the same, but the product inside is really different. But what about all the cultures that kind of swear by alcohol and say that a glass of wine a day is, you know, how we get to live so long? I can't prove or disprove that, really. I'm not also the person to prove or disprove that. But one thing that has been well researched is that fucking up your sleep is the worst thing you can do. And what happens when we drink is that we block our body's ability to go into the deepest stages of sleep. And therefore, the ones that are also most restorative. So that you can't argue with me. Although, in the last year, my findings were such that you don't actually need alcohol to get hungover. There was one night when my girlfriend was somewhere, I think on a project, and I was just here on my own. I went on the sofa and, you know, I gamed till like 5 in the morning with crisps and everything. Oh, the next morning I had pain everywhere. I felt really kind of broken from what I'd just done to my body, you know, sitting in front of a screen, really tightly focused for so long. So yeah, you can ruin your sleep in more than one way. And what was interesting is on the day after my 31st birthday party, I was hungover. And all I had was non-alcoholic drinks. I had a non-alcoholic champagne, non-alcoholic gin, and non-alcoholic beer. And the next day, it was like, oh wow, this was it. I was really hungover. And, you know, I do what is you normally do when you've partied. You know, I called up my best friend like, yo dude, I'm so hungover. And he's like, oh really? I'm fine. I was like, what? But you drank alcohol. And I was like, yeah, well, I feel good. And that was a bit annoying. So I guess you don't actually need alcohol to be hungover. There was a moment in my 31st birthday party when, you know, most of the guests come and I was grilling and people were kind of gathering around me. And then one of them said, so, you're 31 now, are you gonna drink? And I was kind of like, no. I don't miss it. I feel good. I feel also like I've found something that's really important to me, which is my own business and making these videos. Doing that is in itself the biggest reward I have right now. You know, when I was a kid, it would be playing video games, but now it's making stuff. And when I don't get to make those, I'm actually taking away what seems to be the most, one of the most important parts of my life anyway. What does that mean for the future? I don't really know. This year, a very close friend of mine, Mario, who I introduced in the beginning of the video, he has a stag do, he's also getting married, so I don't know what's gonna happen then. And my kind of biggest regret is to not be able to do those drunken things with each other again, you know. It does offer some kind of refuge to get drunk with your friends. You're in a safe place. Your kind of attention is very focused on, well, on nothing, I guess. And all the kind of daily troubles and stuff don't exist. And even talking about it now, I miss it. But I think although alcohol doesn't change, we do. I remember when I was in uni, I started uni quite late. I started uni at 23 years old. So I had already kind of been around the block, but everyone else around me was, just 18. So they were drinking for the first time. And it was Friday night, and I remember hearing this girl. I was walking around campus, and she was just screaming like, ah! And it was, it's probably a really bad impression, but it was the scream of pure joy. It was like ecstasy. It was freedom. It was the scream that said, I'm liberated. Everything I worry about is gone. And I remember thinking to myself, I remember when alcohol used to do that for me. But it hasn't done that for me in a long time. And that was 8 years ago. Although alcohol stays the same, we change, I'm no longer a kid who only has to worry about his homework, When I wake up the day after hungover, I still have to pay my bills. I still have to go shopping. I still have to cook for myself. But now I also have to do it while being hungover, So, and there's all the epic times that we've had that were kind of heightened and that happened because of booze. I also did loads of stupid stuff. Stuff that, luckily I've forgotten most of it, but, I remember one time there was this girl and we were kind of hanging out, I guess, for a few weeks, and for whatever reason I couldn't get that she liked me. So one time she invited me to her birthday party and I got drunk and I got with her best friend and I'm like, so stupid, on many levels. First off, she was great, and second, that was a really dick thing to do. In my defense, I was totally oblivious, but I don't know. So looks like I'm still a loser who doesn't go out. That's a lie. I don't really go to bars and stuff like that, but I do my best to... No, to be honest, I don't go out. I go to the park. I probably would be good. We go to the movies quite often. Just not to the bars. And I'm happy to report that my best friends are still my friends. That was a big one for me. You guys watching this, you've made my life. We've had the most epic times together. I can't say that it's never going to happen again, but I feel that I'm okay. And you guys all live abroad for me. You guys live in the UK, I live in Germany. And when we see each other, I don't necessarily want to be intoxicated. I want to be as conscious as possible so I can make the rare opportunity of really being with you. So I can ask you, how's it going? What's on your mind? Instead of being a little bit drunk and then also not forgetting, not remembering anything that happened later. I guess that's kind of a surprise. Alcohol, my health, I feel will stay the same. My relationships also stayed the same. The biggest, most significant change is for the first time in my life, it's one of these things that I now own, I had time off from drinking. I didn't drink for a whole year. And now I can consciously make the decision whether I want to drink or not drink. It's no longer I'm doing it because everyone else is doing it. I've reflected on it. I've looked at you know, the pluses and negatives. And now my decision is kind of like mine. And that's really empowering. No one can take that away from me. But ultimately, the maths doesn't make sense for me. You know, I do so much to look after myself. I start my days off with yoga and meditation, and I make sure I exercise in the day. And to kind of like throw that away just because I want to feel a little bit drunk, because it's something like this. It's like I get drunk for a few hours, and then it takes me 2 days to get back to my baseline of how much I normally feel. So overall, it's a net loss, you know. I don't know if I'm over mathematizing it, but for me, it doesn't make sense. And what about just drinking occasionally? I've also thought about that. I've realized something is that I'm really bad at moderation. I blame my partying days where I just wouldn't say no, like to drinks or anything. I'm the ultimate yes man when it comes to alcohol, basically. And some other things also, like junk food. Like my girlfriend is perpetually pissed off at me because I'm always eating all the crisps and eating all the chocolate. Like, here's what she can do. She can open up a brand new chocolate bar and just take one little square off and be like, cool, that's nice. And then just leave it there for weeks before she takes another one. I can't do that. If I open up a brand new chocolate bar, half of it is going. And most likely the other half also. So just having like an on-off switch, drinking or not drinking, is much easier for me. I don't have to like use my willpower to like moderate myself. It's just something I don't do. I don't know if I covered this, but I'm not weird. Okay, I've enjoyed alcohol for a really long period of time. It's not like I've never drank. We started drinking very early, and we had loads of fun doing it. Letting go of that part of me is probably the most challenging. It's saying like, okay, now you don't drink. Like, who are you then? Like, what is left? And that's something I'm excited to find out. I'm actually giving myself space to grow into something else because I'm no longer doing this one thing. A part of me wishes that we could just be like those rock stars, you know, like who they're like 80, drink every day, smoke every day, had a really fulfilling life. I mean, sex, whatever. And they have kind of like the best of both. But I don't think the point in life is to drink the most, or I think the point of life is to live it your way. And I think that's the difference between the 20s and 30s. The 20s, you're doing what everyone else is doing. And by the 30s, you find out what you like. And you're also okay doing that thing, even if it's what other people aren't doing. So, that is the end of this video. In the description, I'm gonna link all my blog posts. It's a single link, but when you click on it, you're gonna see all my blog posts, which are documenting and journaling the journey. What's next for me? Well, I mentioned that I'm really bad at junk food, at moderating myself. So my next thing, starting April, is I'm going to do a sugar-free year. Whereas I didn't drink so much alcohol, I do a lot of junk food. And there's also like loads of hidden sugar everywhere. So subscribe if you want to follow what that's like. What I want to know from you is, why do you drink? And what are all the reasons you cannot imagine ever quitting? My name was Martin. Hope you liked the video, and I hope to see you soon.